Are you tired of websites that have been Frankenstein together?
Oh, my website is so slow and creaky.
Every time I use the search bar, it just returns Abby Normal over and over again.
Becky's sister company, the Concept Spot, holds the secret to life itself and can create new life from nothing. In fact, we've been giving life to highly functional websites for the last 25 years using premium parts we swear we didn't salvage from graveyards.
Ooh, check out that header image. Instead of going, my new website purrs.
Need a blog? The Concept Spot can do that. Want an online store? We can do that too.
We build our sites from the cellular level. No reused templates or discarded body parts here, so we can make your site do whatever you want and look however you want.
It's gorgeous! I can't even see the stitches.
We can also resurrect your dead website if rigor mortis has set in.
Oh, it's like a new man.
If you think Homespun Haints is frighteningly genius, you should see our websites. Let your favorite ghoulish gals, Becky and Diana, build you a monstrous website that will wreak havoc on the internet for years to come.
Visit theconceptspot.com for more information.
It's live! It's live! What does manifestation really look like? Can it be subtle? Can it be violent? Can it involve either a well-made cocktail or a bad glass of wine? Courtney's life has taken many strange turns over the last few decades, but she always lands in the most unusual, beautiful places as a result. Has she used the power of manifestation to influence outside forces to bend to her will? Or is she merely telekinetic? Hear her stories and decide for yourself. Today on Homespun Haints. Hello, Hainted Loves. Welcome to Homespun Haints. I'm Becky.
Hey, I'm Diana.
And today, have we got a surprise for you? Oh my goodness, this is the interview that has been 6 years in the making.
It so is. Remember when every time we're interviewed by somebody, they ask how we met.
We met through this lady, Courtney Craig.
Huh? This is the connection.
So years and years ago, back in the dark ages, in the swamps of Florida, Diana and I were friends with this wonderful person you see sitting here before you, or listening, you might hear her giggling, Courtney Craig, calling in all the way from Munich, Deutschland, Munich, Germany. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly.
Can anybody pronounce that correctly?
Courtney was my neighbor in Florida. She was Diana's friend and classmate, and she connected us, and the rest is history. Courtney, it is so good to see you.
Likewise.
Welcome to the show!
The show! We finally talked her in. Like, for years we've been like, Courtney, you really need to come on the show. And she's like, I'm too busy doing all my amazing things in Germany. Most recently, she is opening a bar in Munich called Frau. If you're watching us now, you can see her shirt. What does FLINTA mean?
FLINTA is an acronym that is used here in Germany. So it stands for Frauen, lesbian, intersex, non-binary, transgender, and agender, which is kind of the same in English. So
without the accent, yeah.
Female, lesbian, intersex, non-binary, trans, and agender.
Okay.
So It's a really nice term that describes queer women, but also, those that were assigned female at birth, but also those that choose to be female later in life. It's the female experience. It basically includes everyone but cis men. I have a little bit of an issue with FLINTA because the term is meant to be inclusionary, like for gender, but the L, lesbian, is not gender, it's sexuality. So it's a bit of an imperfect acronym, but it's very widely used here, and it's something that I really want to use myself and embrace because it's very important to me that the space that I'm creating is inclusive to people who maybe don't identify as women, but maybe were born as female or non-binary, agender people as well.
Are there a lot of lesbian bars in Munich?
There are no lesbian bars in Munich. There are no bars for queer women in Munich. We have many, many bars for queer men. I think it's over 8 spaces for queer men. And some of these spaces in Munich actually have signs on the door that say men only, which is just really wild, right?
No.
Yeah, there's lots of spaces that aren't open to us, whether they have a sign or not. Even if we come in, it's not welcoming. I've heard stories of people being kicked out. We do have some community spaces, but it's really lacking. So I'm trying to create that, yeah.
Do you feel like Munich is an open and accepting place in general, though?
Yes, I believe so. We're in a very conservative state here in Bavaria, but the city of Munich is relatively liberal. It's long overdue. We haven't had a space like this in Munich for 13 years, I believe.
Whether or not you live in Germany, please go and support Courtney in helping her bring this much needed space to Munich. You have a fundraising going on right now.
Right. I've been working on this for about a year. I've done so much research and talked to so many people. And most of the people I've talked to here have been like the crowdfunding office, the startup office, the bank, which is all white cis men. And I tell them my story. Oh, imagine. Yeah. Surprise. But I tell them what I'm doing, and they're so excited about it. Yay, and it's just been shocking to me. There's no like, oh, okay. They're really enthused about it.
That's awesome.
So I basically already have the bank is like really excited about this project. I just need a location. So the crowdfunding that I'm doing right now is to raise some money so I can secure a lease at a location. And then I hope everything else falls in place.
Where can people find your crowdfunding information so they can donate?
The easiest way to do that is on Instagram. So it's Frau Bar, MUC. And you should find me on Instagram and with the link to donate.
Okay, excellent. Well, we're going to have links to that in the description below and in our show notes. So if you are interested in helping Courtney support this space, even just a few euros would go a long way.
And then next time you go to Oktoberfest, you'll have a place to hang out.
Exactly.
That's very important, actually. Yeah. So Munich is one of the safest cities in Germany. But during Oktoberfest, it becomes really dangerous, particularly for women. And I don't understand why the city doesn't do more to make us feel safe during this time. It's a terrible time. I hate it. I never leave my house during Oktoberfest time. But, having a space like this where during that time, I think is really, really important. Yeah.
Wow. So as a cis straight woman, would I be welcome there? Would I be comfortable there?
Yes,
okay,
absolutely.
Wonderful.
You're the F, Becky.
Oh, that's right. I'm the Frau. I get it.
Be the F in Flinta.
I get it. Cool.
The F in Flinta, yes.
All right. Well, we're here to talk about ghost stories, and I heard from a little birdie that you have one.
Who are you calling little? I'm so much bigger than you, though. I can't get your pants on.
In all of our photo shoots, I have to stand on a box, so I'm like at least not like a foot shorter than Diana.
We were trying to use a Ouija board in a cemetery for a photo shoot, because respectfully, just watching Becky trying to sit up straight while reaching the Ouija board, it's like, let me do the leaning for you.
It didn't help that a friggin' ghost kept moving the planchette while we were doing.
Isn't that what it's for?
Oh, so rude. No, not while we're photographing. Okay, anyway, sorry, not about us.
Speaking of ghosts and cemeteries.
I don't have anything to add to that, but I will tell you that I have the power of telekinesis.
Jealous?
Well, of course we're jealous. This is why we're listening to the interview.
Okay, all right. To Courtney, what? Wait, why did I not know this? I've known you how many decades?
Why did you not know this about me?
Oh, yeah,
we've known each other a long time. Well, it's a surprise to me because I don't believe in this stuff. Yeah, I'm like very science-minded and very skeptical about all of this. And this incident makes no sense to me, even to this day, and it really bothers me. So maybe talking about it with you will make me feel better about it somehow.
Okay.
I'm certain that's going to happen.
Oh man, I had a rough day.
What happened, honey?
I was out with the guys and they said I wasn't spooky enough.
Oh, honey, how could they say that to you? You're hella spooky.
You think so?
Of course. After all, you came up with the ectoplasm being ghost jizz theory, and you've been scratched by more horny ghosts than anyone else I know.
Well, I suppose you're right.
But if you're really worried about it, I have just the thing.
Oh, wow! A spooky AF t-shirt?
That's right. Our spooky AF line comes in shirt, sweatshirt, pillow, and even a high-quality mug.
Man, those are super awesome, especially for something with profanity on it.
What's even better, all these items were hand-lettered exclusively for Homespun Hates by world-renowned calligrapher Nikki Malik.
Holy ghostly cannoli, that's amazing.
From now on, whenever you brandish your spooky AF gear, no one will accuse you of being boring.
Yeah, I'm spooky AF.
Visit homespunhates.com for all spooky AF merchandise.
Because I can't explain it. I can't.
All right, so start at the beginning.
So, I was in London, one of my favorite cities on the planet. I used to go every year for a conference, and I would stay extra because I loved it so much, and I would go out and just enjoy the city. On this particular trip, though, I was going through some things in my personal life. I was going through a recent breakup with my girlfriend, and I was really wishing that she were there with me to have these experiences with me in this wonderful city of London. So you probably need some background on the girlfriend to understand the story.
I think we do.
This girlfriend was living in New York, and her and I were together when we lived in New York. She's originally, though, from the country of Guyana. And Guyana is famous for two things. You probably know one already. Jonestown and Jim Jones.
Oh.
Which is a horrible, terrifying story all of its own.
Oh, Diana dressed as Jim Jones for Halloween when she was here a few years ago. Anyway.
You did.
It was like a cross between Jim Jones and Manson. I mean, take your pick.
I almost got your cat to drink the Kool-Aid.
All right. Anyway, sorry, Courtney. So Jim Jones, yes.
The second thing it's known for is delicious, delicious rum, particularly El Dorado rum. Have you tried it, El Dorado?
I'm allergic to rum.
I remember that.
I don't know if I've tried it, but I bet I have.
So here I am in London with my broken heart, thinking about my ex-girlfriend who's in New York City. And we used to always drink El Dorado rum in one of our favorite cocktails, a dark and stormy. Ginger beer, rum, and lime. It's a nice, spicy little cocktail. It's a cocktail I plan to serve in my bar, actually. It's a really refreshing, nice cocktail. Mm-hmm. Maybe with El Dorado rum. I haven't considered that yet, but I think I should use El Dorado rum. It's one of the best rums. What I used to do when I went to London, I was there by myself. I had a conference during the day, and in the evening, I'd like to explore the city, find little places to hop in for food, and really nice cocktail bars, because London has really, really nice cocktail bars. I found myself in a fancier, kind of upscale cocktail bar, because it was recommended by a place that I had dinner at, I think. And I was really feeling sad, really, really sad, sitting at the bar by myself with a very, very strong cocktail and just in my own thoughts, pining for my ex-girlfriend all the way across the pond, wishing she were there. I look up at the bar, and it's a bar with like three shelves. And the bottle of El Dorado was on the second shelf. And it was not on the edge of the shelf. All the bottles were lined up in the middle or in the back of the shelf. But I saw that El Dorado, and it really hit me how much I missed her. It made me think of her. I wanted her to be there and to share this moment with me. It was so lonely exploring this wonderful city all alone, because it's something that I know we would enjoy so much. And I don't know, something in my brain, in my heart, in my whole being, the next thing I know, the bottle of rum jumped off the shelf. Jumped. It was so dramatic that the bartender jumped up and flipped around, looked right at me, and was like, "What? What was that?" Like, this wasn't precariously on the edge of the shelf. It was nowhere near the edge. It just flew off the shelf. The second shelf, mind you. And it did not break when it hit the ground.
Whoa. Okay.
It kind of bounced on the floor and then sit there. And the bartender and I, this was a full bar, and the bartender and I just locked eyes, and we were just like, what just happened? And he picked it back up and he put it back on the shelf. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I moved that bottle with my mind. Because I'm thinking so strongly about this person and these memories and this place that I've never been to that I always wanted to go. And there's the rum from this country, and it just flies off the shelf. And afterward, I tell the bartender, hey, I'm going to have some of that, so pour me some. Because I had to drink it, obviously.
Yeah, if you love something, let it go. And if it jumps off the shelf and comes back to you, drink it. Oh my goodness. So how does it feel to have telekinesis? We need to know.
I kind of think, you hear these stories about moms lifting up cars off of their children, like in these moments of extreme emotion.
That's explicable.
Superpowers.
Oh, but that's just adrenaline.
I was feeling like extreme emotion in this time, and I felt like sometimes I felt like my brain was connecting to her brain across the pond. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, I don't know, I was just like this extreme feeling, and then I moved the bottle with my mind. Like, I can't explain it to this day. And I told her this story, and she was also pretty freaked out about it. She has no explanation either.
It was a really good line in the fictional TV show Evil, which is obviously where I get my gospel from, that science is perfect for defining and studying repeatable phenomena. And this phenomenon is not repeatable.
No, it could be testable. So, Courtney, next time you're in London, you need to go to that same bar and try and dig up those same feelings and see if it happens again.
It's not going to happen again, Becky. You can't just feel the feeling of being broken up with. Like, that's not like...
You got to remember it. You can recall.
You're pretty emo. I bet you could.
I feel it often, actually, with this one. No, there's a little bit more to this, though. So I left the bar, and I was taking the train back to my Airbnb. There was a busker in the subway, and the busker was playing only Bob Marley songs.
Aww.
And as I was walking by, he was playing Three Little Birds, which was like our song. Like, it's like a very important, Bob Marley's like our favorite, particularly this song. It was like always the song. So I felt like she was there the whole time. It's like, I can't escape, So I see this busker playing Three Little Birds. And I think in that moment I broke down, like, and just started crying. Because I'm like, this is weird. This is really strange. This person who I haven't spoken to for a long time, and who's all the way across the ocean, and who seems to be like with me, like messing with me, knocking bottles off shelves and making people play your favorite song and that I encounter on my way. It was very strange.
Well, you said it was like she was messing with you, but in a way, you were wishing really hard that she was with you. So, in a way, was it like you were actually manifesting that? By hearing her songs, seeing her rum jump out at you? There may have even been other little things that happened that you didn't even notice that would indicate she was actually there in spirit, in a way? Who knows?
True. I manifested it with this extreme emotion that I have.
I bet if you sit and rack your brain, you're going to be able to start seeing some other coincidences and things like this that really indicate that you have some superpowers.
It's entirely possible. I have a lot of strange things that do happen to me.
I think just looking at your life and everything you've done, I mean, my gosh, you have manifested so much. It is so fucking hard to be like, I'm going to move to Germany. I'm going to learn German and move to Germany. And you did it. Holy shit. Not only I'm going to move to Germany, but I'm going to be in a position in Germany where I can work for myself and have my own business and not have to be on some sort of green card from a company. I mean, could learn some things from you.
And as far as I know, you're pretty much the unifying force behind the community that's going to be patronizing Frau Bar. Yes.
Yes, genau, as we say, genau, yes. I moved here wanting a queer community, and I didn't really have one. Then I found one in Munich, an international queer women's meetup. And then I eventually became a leader of this group, and we have over 1,000 members in this group.
Looking at your timeline, you had this incredible paranormal experience with telekinesis. And now we're coming full circle. So this story took place in a bar. Now you're building a bar. Do you think that there was any way that this one event was influencing you in some way and adjusting the course of your life?
Probably, because I've spent a lot of time in bars. I really enjoy cocktail culture, cocktail making.
Do you think that because you have so much synergy with these spaces that it had something to do with being in a bar that allowed you to, I guess, access and tap into this part of your mind that allowed you to move this bottle?
Probably, because I really feel comfortable in these
Yeah.
spaces.
Okay, well, I bring that up because I'm wondering, I would love for you to stay tuned with us and let us know if while you're in this space and devoting so much energy to building it and creating it and all the emotions and everything you're feeling in a cocktail bar that is your own, if you start to develop more of these things, if you start noticing more bottles moving off the shelf, maybe you'll be preparing a cocktail and the bottle will just come to you. You do also know a lot about the brain and the way the brain works. You might have suspected that Courtney is a very, very, very educated woman. What do you think would be the physiological explanation for telekinesis or telepathy? Or anything like
Oh,
that?
that's a tough question because it's also tied with emotion, right? So I think amygdala, certainly. Amygdala is like the lizard primitive brain where we have kind of primitive responses, like deep emotions and fear. I think that's probably central to it.
Okay.
And also have to have connections to motor complexes in the brain to be able to have the movement aspect of it. But
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't looked up the neuroscience of telekinesis. I'll do that on PubMed once we're done here
Please,
today.
yeah. Let us know. Cite your sources.
If you think about it, okay, I want to speculate here because I love that you mentioned the motor cortex portion of it and the amygdala. I never really thought about the emotional part of it before, but that makes a lot of sense. And then for people that are in a way connected to their third eye or the energies or the vibes, maybe it just has to do with creating those extra connections in our brains, just the same way like me, I'm synesthetic because like the connections went AWOL, like I think here in this part of my brain here that's like next to my cheek, which I've been told it's like right here. Apparently there's some like extra dendrites going on there that cause me to see color when I hear numbers and stuff like that. So maybe it's just a matter of like just the like little bzz, 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 bzz forming in the wrong places of the brain or the right places of the brain and allowing those things to connect together.
It's got to have something to do with the semi-field too. Because remember, you said you're connected across the seas in your head. I feel that connection to people's heads.
Yeah.
Like there's a cerebral EMF field. Like that's redundant. When you get close enough to somebody and your semi-fields cross, I think that does have something to do with the way we communicate with each other, whether you call it telekinesis, telepathy, or whatever.
I've never shared this with anybody, and this may get cut. But I had this experience once that I really thought I was like connected to the brain of this guy. I met him in a bar.
How appropriate for this story.
Back when I lived in Chicago, obviously before I met my husband. Met this guy in a bar and we went out, whatever. The next night I was thinking about him because I really liked him. I was like, oh, this guy was kind of hot. And I remember him talking about how he had like really bad IBS.
That is something I use as a pickup line every weekend.
So the next night, I'm thinking about him, and I got like really sick to my stomach. It was weird, but it felt like it wasn't me. I don't know how to say. I was like, this is his stomach issue. I'm having his stomach issue. And it was like a rough night, let me tell you. And I still remember being like, why is he doing this to me? You know, I don't think he realized it, but I was just like, I really, and I just kept feeling like it was him. And of course, being the like weirdo kid that I was like, wow, it was a magical connection. Diarrhea. Yay. So I called him the next day and I was like, hey, something happened last night. And he's like, oh? And I'm like, were you thinking about me? And I kept trying to because I didn't want to be like, did you have diarrhea at the same time I had diarrhea? You know, it wasn't like,
But I think there's a connection.
Like I said,
True love.
It was one of those things where if I had not felt like this was him, like I would have never brought it up, you know, because it was such a weird feeling. I was like, this is him. But like, you know, and of course, whatever. It's weird to even be like, ooh, kind of cool. We have a mental connection through our bowels. Anyway, so I kept trying.
The enteric nervous system.
Right, apparently. I kept trying to like hint, but he was not having it. So I was like, well, all right, well, clearly that wasn't what or you didn't realize you were passing your problems on to me. So we promptly broke up. But it was, it obviously still stays with me because it felt so real. I can't believe I just shared that.
Becky, the microbiome is contagious. It is.
You think I caught his
catch
IBS?
Stuff like that. Depends on how dirty he was and what you put in your mouth. Because maybe.
TMI.
Yeah. I don't want to share that with myself.
I did not catch any diseases, gut related or otherwise, from anybody I met in a bar in a paranormal manner or otherwise. However, I do have a little bit of a telekinesis story.
Oh?
I don't have any idea of the context of the story because I think it happened when I was about 6 or 7. But we were watching, it was Christmas. We were watching, so there's a little context. It was Christmas time. The magic of Christmas. We were watching Santa Claus the movie. It's a very magical movie, right? Isn't that the one with the puce pops?
What?
That crazy? I don't know. Santa Claus the movie. If you know, you know.
I don't know.
But anyway.
I think you're making this up.
Yeah.
It's not. I swear it's this thing. Anyway, so we're watching this movie about Santa Claus, whatever that was. And I got tired of it. And my thought was, I need a remote to turn off the TV. Pow is what I did, or something like that. And TV turned off. Ta-da!
That's another example of telekinesis.
That's another example, because nobody had the remote. I looked for the remote. This is back when each TV only had one single remote, and if you lost it, you were fucked. So I looked for it, found it like on the other half of the king-size bed from where I was. Nobody was pointing it at the IR sensor through the mirror from the other room or anything like that. So that made me feel really special for like quite a while. I was like 7. And it hasn't happened to me as an adult, but
I just thought of another story, actually, that's really good.
I knew you would.
Yeah, I forgot about this one. This one is also wild. And I don't know how to describe it, but it's a bit angelic. I don't know. Like, it's not so much the telekinesis power, but... So I lived in New York City for many, many years, and I basically grew up and come of age, even though it was a little late in life, at the Cubbyhole, which is the iconic lesbian bar in New York City. It's where everybody goes. It's right there near Stonewall, where the riots took place. It is a legendary place, and everybody has a story from Cubbyhole. Everybody, except maybe you two don't have a story from Cubbyhole. And I'll actually tell you how I got to Cubbyhole in the first place, because this was also a bit terrifying. So I came out later in life. I wasn't quite sure about my queerness yet. And my whole life got turned upside down because my relationship of 10 years with a man, disappeared overnight. And it was one of the worst things I've ever experienced in my life. And I was really struggling with what to do next. And I was on the street in New York City, waiting for the light to change. And have you all seen the movie Mulholland Drive? Mm-hmm. I know your listeners have probably seen the movie Mulholland Drive. It's one of my favorite movies.
Well, you're a David Lynch aficionado, so of course it is.
Absolutely. There's a scene in Mulholland Drive where they're at the diner and they go behind the dumpster at the diner, and this person comes out, and they're so terrifying that the actor like drops dead from fright. Do you remember the scene?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm waiting for the light to change, and a woman who's a homeless woman who looks just like the person behind the dumpster in Mulholland Drive is digging through the trash while I'm waiting for the light to change. For an intersection, it's about a 4-lane road I want to cross. I'm waiting. The woman sees me, and she starts talking to me, and I can't really make out what she's saying. She's very not mentally well, obviously, very, very unkempt and terrifying looking, like reminding me of Winkies in Mulholland Drive. And then all of a sudden, she lunges at me and starts calling me a dyke, starts cursing at me, and I'm like, whoa. And the next thing I know, she pushes me really hard. She's smaller than I am, but she really, really hit me and pushed me into traffic before the light had changed. And I just was like, what? I'm like, what? And then she comes running after me, and the traffic is still coming. And I have to run across these 4 lanes of highway, and hopefully I don't get hit by a car because this woman is chasing me in the street. And I finally run away from her thinking she's going to stab me with a shiv or something. And I just go home and I'm like, what just happened? I've never been called a dyke before. Is that what I am? And it was just such a strange thing for me to experience. It was really quite frightening. Especially in this time in my life, I'm trying to figure out exactly what I'm doing. And yeah, what is my sexuality? I was very confused about it. I wasn't out to myself yet. And then I had this horrifying experience. So after a few weeks, I'm like, online, I'm like, let me go to a lesbian bar. I've never been to one before. And what comes up number 1 on Google? The Cubbyhole, the iconic bar in New York City. And I wasn't out to anybody. I wasn't out to you, Diana. I don't think out to anybody. I wasn't even out to myself. Didn't have anyone to talk to. I went there by myself after this experience, trying to like understand everything. And I walked in this bar, and it was kind of early in the afternoon, and it wasn't very crowded. And there were just regular people sitting at the bar, having a beer, eating a pizza. And I was terrified, so terrified. And I'm sitting there like shaking, drinking a really bad glass of wine. Do not drink wine at Cubbyhole. Terrible.
Noted.
Terrible idea. Then everyone came and talked to me, and it was so great. I was just like, what is this place? This doesn't happen in other bars I've ever been to. And all of these women who were regulars in this space just really noticed, I guess, how out of place and afraid I was. And they just kind of took me in and asked me my story and were talking to me. And it really, really helped. And I kept going back and I kept going back. And I went back almost every weekend. And I have so many stories from Cubbyhole. But one that was particularly strange. One night I was sitting at the bar with a friend of mine who now lives in Munich, believe it or not.
Manifestation.
Manifesting it again. And the bar was packed that night. And her and I were just sitting at the bar like this because it was very crowded. And then all of a sudden, this beautiful girl comes behind us. And this was like a slow motion event, like in the movies. And we both turn as she's going out, because it's very close, we're bumping into each other on the way out. And she touches me on the face like this as she's going by. And slow motion, I turn my head as her hand is holding my cheek as she walks by and out the door. And my friend and I look at each other and we're like, what the hell was that? And my friend's like, you have to go after her. And I was like, yeah, of course I do. And I get up and I go out and she's gone. She's not there anymore. It was like this angelic slow motion moment with this beautiful woman's hand like on my cheek, just walking past. It was...
Whoa. But your friend saw her too.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, yes. She was seen by all.
Uh-huh.
not an apparition.
But you were the only person that she caressed.
Yes. Yes.
I wanted to say groped, but I'm like, that's not quite the same. Caressed.
Drive-by
No, it wasn't
caressing.
Wow. Okay. So, do you, I mean, the way you said it, it's almost like everything went silent. Was she glowing?
Yeah.
Wow. Do you think that was like some sort of...
Her hair started blowing backwards
like
like
Beyonce,
fans. Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. It was really, you have these moments in your life where, like in the movies, when things do kind of slow down somehow and your mind processes them in slow motion. That was definitely that moment. It was so strange. But my friend and I both experienced it at that pace, I think, which was also really interesting. So maybe our minds were connected by the semifield.
See, this is another scenario in which I had the same experience, but as a child.
Hey guys, it's like you're friends or something.
Not the bar part. The being shoved and called a homo. What was it called? I was called a fag, actually, which is...
I was called a dyke, yeah.
Yeah, like not accurate at all.
I know, get your slurs right.
I was very, very cis female at the time, so I don't know why, but yeah.
I thought I was too. So it was really strange to hear, yeah.
So yeah, I think it was somewhere between 8 and 10. Somebody randomly approached me in the cafeteria and said, I heard you were talking about me. I said, who are you? Because I have face blindness, so I had no clue who this person was. And she said, I heard you called me a faggot. You're a faggot. She threw me into a trash can. It was very intense. And of course, I was like 8, 9. I didn't have any concept of what the hell she meant. I was a child. I had no idea what she meant. And then it happened again, like a year later. And then, now I know what they meant. But yeah, it was a really confusing situation. Like, how did this bully know before I did? We've had a few guests on the show who have had the same story. Like, how did the bullies know before we do?
But you didn't have the angel experience, did you?
No, I was just shoved into a trash can. I did not get caressed by slow-mo angel woman afterwards. Unfortunately, nobody came to my rescue. I just went in the bathroom and cried.
Well, those are the things that will not happen at Frau. Well, maybe the angel might, but...
Well, I mean, everyone has a story. I think it's so great, and we don't really have a place like this here now. So many stories at Cubbyhole, and I want to basically transplant the Cubbyhole vibe and the Cubbyhole experience here, and hopefully it will work. But it's very different than what we have already.
Well, getting back to the angel lady, do you think that she was like what do you think she was? Do you think she was some kind of heavenly being? Do you think she was your spirit guide? Do you think she was just a ghost even? Like, do you have any ideas of what she could have been?
The thing about Cubbyhole also is you always kind of see the same people. I mean, I think that's true for any queer space. So it's a very small kind of world, even in New York City. But this girl I had never, ever seen before. And I never saw again. And it was so strange. I went right out the door after her, and she wasn't there. And it's not like you can just hop into a cab, like right out front of the door. Right. That's not how New York City works. You have to look for a cab. I looked everywhere. I think I even walked like a block in each direction to see if I could find her. And she just vanished. So, and I never saw her there again, but I kept going because it's just like, wow, I want to meet this person again. And I never found her again. No.
I mean, what do you think she was? Who do you think she was?
I don't know, she could have been the love of my life. I don't know.
Well, if that's the case, then she'll come back. Maybe she was a vision you were having of somebody you'll meet in the future.
Maybe.
I remember after I gotten out of like a terrible 4-year relationship. I was an absolute mess, wandering aimlessly through the streets of Chicago crying. And I had a vision of what my future soulmate would look like. And I met him 6 months later and we're still married. So
damn, in that city. Did you pass by him?
No.
Subconsciously pick up his image?
No, I just closed my eyes and I saw him.
It's romantic.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's romantic and spooky.
It is. It makes you wonder about things like fate. And, it's kind of also an interesting thing about Alex and I. We both haunted the same bars and cafes and had the same friends even. Like, well, not friends, but acquaintances for years before we met. But, like, for instance, there's this coffee shop that he and I were both regulars at. I went in the morning, he went in the evening. So for years, we were like these two ships. And it was like time and fate were waiting till we were both ready.
It's like when you walk the dog and they sniff all the pee spots and then leave a little pee.
Yes.
That's what you guys were doing. It's exactly like that. You guys were just leaving each other's scent markings all over town until you found each other.
Our first date was really interesting because we kept running into people that like knew both of us. We're like, oh, hey guys, we didn't know you knew each other. We're like, we don't. This is our first. What? It was weird and random. And it was like in Chicago, right? Like, that's why you live in a big city, so you don't have to run into people you know. Oh.
Yeah, you'd think so, but it happens all the time.
So weird.
When I lived in New York, one time I was hailing a cab, and the cab stopped, and the people that got out of the cab were my friends, and I got in the cab after them. It's like there's millions of people in the city, and that happens all the time. Actually, it's really strange,
really weird. Yeah. Well, for anybody listening, I think that this is proof that you can do anything. You can move Rome with your mind. You can move to another country. You can start a movement, a bar, a community in a completely different part of the world if you so choose. You just have to have the wish and the will and the emotion.
And if you choose not to, soon you'll be able to just visit Frau Bar. No commitment.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's very exciting. Do you have a website you want to share with us, Courtney, before we close this out?
Yeah, so the website is fraubar.de.
Okay. DE for Deutschland. And for those of you that don't know how to spell Frau, it is FRAU.
No umlauts this time.
Yeah, just remember that the AU makes the ow, ow, ow sound in, or is it ow, ow, ow? Sorry, was that inappropriate?
Yes.
This is how Americans learn German.
I'm going to make a custom cocktail called Have a Spooky Day. It won't be on the menu, but if people order it, you'll know.
You want to develop a drink for my bar? We can do that.
Let's do it. Let's do it together. What do you think would be in a Have a Spooky Day?
Squid ink.
Squid ink. Squid ink, creme de violette, Chambord, and Bombay?
I like
it. Drink that.
Something juniper-y.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Like a edible pansy on the
Ooh,
top.
that would be good. You could do some black salt around the rim, though. That would go well with the squid ink, too. Like that little brainy.
You know, I have all of these ingredients in my kitchen right now. I want to make
You have squid ink? Yeah. I can't wait till you open Frau Bar. I can't wait till you make the Have a Spooky Day drink with the squid ink.
Yeah, you're going to come to the bar and you're going to drink it with me. I make it for you.
Okay, that sounds good. Again, your website is fraubar.de. People can find you on Instagram at fraubarmuc on Instagram. They can find out about your fundraising campaigns there. And we'll have links to all of that in our show notes.
Coming on the show.
Yes, it's amazing.
Thank you.
Can you say Have a Spooky Day in German for us?
Okay.
Well, Haunted Loves, what do you think? If you were drinking in the only FLINTA bar in Munich,
is hosted by Becky Kielimnik
bottle
and
jumped off the
Diana
shelf
Doty,
at you,
and produced
would you
by
order Dark and
Homespun
Stormy,
Hates Media
or would you
LLC.
have
Editing
Day?
and music by
Viel
Becky
Spaß.
Kielimnik. Show notes by Diana Doty. If you have a ghost story and you'd like to be considered as a guest for this podcast, please visit our website at homespunhates.com/submit.